Again, welcome to our show, and I'm here to share with you something that happened in the just yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it was a friend of mine who posted something on Facebook. But before I go there, let me loosen up a little because I know sometimes I could sound a little boring. So let me just, loosen up and be able to tell you the story or the program that happened. So I remember when I was small and we were together because all of us were friends, and we were together. We used to hang out. We used to do a lot of wrong things, actually. We're talking about teenage years, So I come from that mentality of, yo, what's up, what's going on, what's popping, it's all good, and that type of mentality that we had growing up, which all of us probably thought it was cool, and, this is what we want to do. Selling drugs, whether it was selling weed or selling cocaine or just all of that, or going and commit crime and drinking 40s. And for those of you who don't know what 40s are, 40s is like beer in a 40-ounce bottle, and smoking weed and doing all kinds of stupidness. So in actuality, we're all grown up now, and we all basically have kids. And yesterday, a friend posted something on Facebook, which was pretty. It sparked a conversation. It was a bag of money, and it had about. He was saying it was about $5 million inside, and he said he found it on a bus stop. So everybody was like, you wouldn't be posting that on Facebook if you really found that money, and it was like, making joke and fun out of it. So what happened was that as they were making jokes and fun about it, I just stepped in and I said, well, tell me where you live so I could come stick you up. Because, everybody, since small moved out and gone their separate ways and stuff like that. So I was like, tell me where you live so I could stick you up. You know what I mean? So the one of my other friends from back in the days said, Larry, he said jokingly too, because I said it jokingly too. He said, but you're a brother now, and who you talking about sticking up? You're a brother. And I just said, man, it's just a joke. And then I had a thought about how I used to think back in the den, because actually I did go on a couple stick-ups back in the days, you know what I mean? So I remember that I've been on a stick-up. I went and robbed a gas station, whatever, with a gun with two other people. Went and stick it up with a gun and whatever. Wasn't nothing nice. Didn't really got a lot of money from it. If you want to hear the juice of the story, I could tell you. Which is basically I took two, back then we called them herbs, people who were like, what's a herb? What was a herb? For people out there that don't know what a herb is, it's not like herb as in weed and smoke. A herb is like, two people are like punk. They're like, I don't want to use vulgar language, so they were like punks. They didn't really was about nothing. They didn't, but I went and this is my first robbery, and how I really went and seen the person. I seen him at the mall working at the Elf, just pitched basically the idea to him, we're going to go rob this gas station and get mad money and loot. And then I took he went and got a friend, and I remember I had this black car, and we gone and rob the gas station, pull out the gun, boom, give me your money. I got the gun. The friend is a getaway driver, and he now is he's there with me. No, the Elf, the guy who used to work at the mall, is the getaway driver, and the dude who he got, he's with me. Remember, it's my car. It's like a $300, $400 hoopty we had back then, because we grew up kind of poor, wasn't rich and thing. But anyway, so we go in the gas station, got the mask on. Yo, give me your money. Anyway, so give me your money. We started taking the money. When he when he taken the money, the other kid with like the bat or whatever, the baton he had, when he took the money, he ran out the gas station. I'm there with the gun. I'm trying to. Remember, it's my car. So what am I gonna do? Am I gonna like try to grab more money or try to go in the man's pockets and get more money? Because I know that soon as he run out and it's my car, they're gonna jump in the car. They ain't gonna wait on me, and they're gonna bounce. Long story short, I ran out. We didn't really got much money, you know, probably 400 US, which is whack to risk 8 years of prison. 400 US. Anyway, we ran out. I jumped in the car. Whatever money they had on them, I just took it because I was vexed. We were supposed to get about at least $3,000-4,000. I'm vexed. I just take their money, drop them off, go burn the car, leave no evidence, whatever, because the car wasn't even registered and all that. It was a hoopty. Anyway, that was the first robbery. Now you know that I come from a lifestyle which wasn't really clean and nice and all that good stuff. But the point of the story is that I changed my life. So I was telling them on Facebook after I seen the loot, and you know I'm going to stick you up because that's the type of mentality I had. But my way of thinking have changed now. So I was telling them what it was, you know, and I was like, we were making a joke. And I just started to think on when I was going on like this big heist, and this Jewish guy was telling me about a robbery, $1 million that the Arabs, remember it was like 2001, they didn't have much, it was right after 9/11, about 6 months later, so I'm thinking I'm doing a good, you know, I'm taking money from the Arabs because they, you know, I think they had owned a couple gas stations or whatever. They had $1 million, I heard, in the safe from the Jewish guy, so that when I would have went and did the robbery, I would have given the Jewish guy some of the money for giving me the plan and layout and all that. Anyway, I went and put the house on the surveillance and all that, yada yada, you know, because I wasn't no stupid criminal, even though I got caught and spent time, did my time. Anyway, at least I thought I wasn't stupid. And I remember all the weed, all the drugs, all back in the day, the gangster, the music, the TV, the environment, the friends, the peer pressure. You know, why I didn't go and hang out with some people who was positive? I didn't have no positive role model. Anyway, so he gave me the plan. Long story short, I didn't end up doing the robbery for the $1 million. I eventually got arrested for something else, some petty crime and thing, because it actually was the stolen car that was gonna use the stolen car to go to the robbery. But something happened where another friend snitched on me. He got caught with drugs. He ended up telling them the story of how he got caught with drugs. He ended up telling the story how I got some stolen cars. So he telling them the plan and all that. So he's a snitch. And I end up going down for that without getting to follow through with the robbery. But it's a good thing because the type of money, we ain't talking about leaving people, you know, alive or whatever. But that was the way I used to think. So I'm telling them about this way of how I used to think with the Arab and the Jewish, and how I even thought that I'm doing something good because I'm going to rob an Arab, and that's how my mind, because of the whole, you know, drugs and the weed and all these different things was going through my mind, and that, it was crazy. But my point is that when I was telling them that, they was like, don't preach. And I'm not even preaching. That was the funny part. But as I came to know Christ, they seen me like in one video talking about the unconditional love of God, and how, you know, I have this unconditional love of God now, and I found Jesus. And they seen me one time, and actually what I did a piece of time was just put John 13:34 on the screen. I mean, I tagged like 96 people in a quote, John 13:34, that says, "A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you. And I was trying to tell them how we're able to love people the way God loves them, you know. And I posted it on Facebook, YouTube, and all of that to get people to that level. I mean, it's just scientifically proven now, but I'm not trying to get into preaching. But they had called, I didn't even go there. I didn't even say nothing about Jesus. I didn't even mention nothing about the Bible. I was just showing them that from how I used to think then to how I think now, and I wrote that, you know, I'm all about helping out the youths now and helping out the kids and just looking back. And here what one of them says. He tags me in the comment and he said, here goes Larry again, always preaching. This time I'm not even preaching. I just was referring to thought. Anyway, so I write a long story about the past, and I mean, one of them even say, you're writing effing novels now. So I was like, what? But every time I wrote this story, and or they said novel, and it was basically about me explaining my life and how you know, we was at children, we didn't have role models, and the negativity of the music, TV, the drugs, the whatever made us who we were. But now all of us has children now. So what we want for our children, we became better parents. And even one of them, the same person who was telling me about preaching, I don't want to mention no names because I don't want nobody to be upset with me, but it was a testimony, that's why I'm sharing it. And even one of them who said that I'm preaching, the one that said I'm preaching, he actually had stopped smoke weed recently and said he's doing it for his daughter. So I was just trying to show him at that particular time what I've been through when I had stopped, what I did to stop. I didn't have to go to AA and all these different things, even though, you know, I passed through jail and all of that. I was able to also do it, stop cold turkey, like he was saying. He stopped cold turkey for the sake of his daughter. So I was telling him it's mind over matter. And you got to be able now, for those who out there who's trying to stop smoking or got some addiction, whether it's alcohol, weed, drugs, whatever, coffee's your addiction, is mind over matter. You know, even cigarettes might be addiction, whatever addiction, mind over matter. Basically, you program your mind to tell your mind something. And that's what I did to be able to stop, because I said to myself, man, if I continue smoking weed or smoking cigarettes, something bad is going to happen to me. So I actually installed fear into my mind to stop from smoking. And whatever, you could go as far to the extent something's going to happen to my children if I continue with my addiction. I mean, and your mind, because you love your children so much, your mind will say, nah. Because you install fear into your mind. Well, that's a whole nother teaching, fear-based mind control programming. That's a whole nother teaching, whole nother topic. Anyway, back to the story at hand. So I wrote this story showing them about my life and how I changed, and how now I have a son. And I showed them basically that the family unit with my son is broken because I'm no longer with their mother. And just right then and there, there's psychological trauma, emotional pain that I have caused, because I blame myself, even though it's I blame myself. I have caused to my son, because the psychological trauma, he's going to grow up at one stage in his life, he's going to think, why are my parents not together? Because he's going to be seeing his other friends with their parents together. So he's going to probably come and ask us, why are we not together? And, you know, you got to be prepared for things like that. Now, I was showing him that, but I was showing him something a little deeper, because to go into my story now, my ex-girlfriend or child mother has an 8-year-old brother who she takes care of because her mom died. Right? And her father is not her father, but her brother's father, because they have different fathers. Her brother's father is a junkie. He smokes cocaine, crack, whatever whatever he smokes. I don't really know. So he smoked. So right then and there, that 8-year-old child is going through a lot of psychological trauma, a lot of emotional pain. Now because she been through a lot of emotional pain and a lot of psychological trauma, she had to deal with it on her own. So her philosophy is let him deal with it on his own. But I'm telling her that that's not the way. And so I had to step up now because of the unconditional love. I had to step up and take care of him in the aspect that I have to be the father figure, even though he has nothing to do with me. Me and her are not together, but I got to step up. And the reason being I have to step up is not only because of God and Jesus, and that's the way to do it, and because of Christ and the unconditional love I have. But even if you don't believe in God and you're another religion, this is where it makes sense. You step up because you're a child. You don't want your child because obviously you have to know that the 8-year-old child, the 8-year-old boy would have an influence on my biological son. So if he goes astray, then that means most likely my son will go astray. So I had to step up now and play a father figure into his life, start taking him out and teaching him, and start installing certain values into his life so he could now grow up and become who he's meant to be, and who he's meant to be. He's not going to become no person who's going to smoke weed on the corner and become a criminal, because I refuse for that to happen to my son. I'm passionate about helping the youth, and I refuse for that to happen to my son, especially for what I've been through. And I mean, it's a good thing that I was able to wake up. Some people don't wake up. Some people don't become conscious. So what I was explaining to them was all of that about how if you don't think about how you're going to raise your kids, how you don't think about them becoming into gangs or falling in and being criminals and start using drugs and stuff like that. And I was showing them all of this, and this is what they in turn told me: stop preaching. You're writing an effing novel. And there was one girl out of the whole group clicked like on the novel supposedly, and she told me, preach on, it's okay, preach on, it's good. It's good stuff that once you believe it and you're following it, it's cool. But remember, I didn't even mention nothing about the Bible, about God. All I'm mentioning is basically about social work and raising your kids. So how could that, I don't even understand how that could have been preaching when I'm just talking about basic life. I mean, we were kids, we end up doing the wrong thing, we end up following the wrong trend. Now we have kids, it should be our turn now to influence them, because as a father you should be the greatest influence in your kid's life. And we grown up now, seeing what we've been through, we don't want the cycle to keep repeating. So we got to become conscious now of what we're going to do, how we're going to combat, when our kid turns teenage years and he's going to be amongst friends who's smoking and drinking, how are we going to stop him from getting into that kind of activity? And this is what I was showing them, but I'm so passionate about it that I almost wrote a book on Facebook explaining. Anyway, they read it, because if they didn't read it, they wouldn't have been able to comment. So I know, it would have had an effect on it. But here's the testimony that I want to share. The very next day, which is today, I woke up, and in my news feed on Facebook, there it is. I know you don't care about me, but I still love you as a father. And this is the person that told me that I'm preaching. So even though that he might have said, "Oh man, you're always preaching," it had an effect on his mind. And it didn't take long, because the very next day he's posted on Facebook that I know you don't. He's telling his son. He tagged his son in the post. I know you don't care about me, but I still love you as a father. And then he puts a picture of a poem that says, when you were born, you wasn't born with instructions and these kind of things, that I love you. And he's basically apologizing. But that's it. That's the testimony. So even though I was able to share with them, because me and them are friends, we grew up together, we eat from the same plate, and we smoke from the same blunt or joint or whatever, drink from the same 40 or whatever. But I've changed. I've realized that's not the way I want to go. And even though that some of them might not have awoken yet, maybe spiritually, that had an effect on his mind. And he tried to now start back that relationship that his son so desperately needs, because I think his son is in the teenage years now, and obviously there's a psychological trauma going on there because his father wasn't there. So I was telling him about what I'm doing now is filling in the gap for all those kids out there who's been whatever, parents, single parents, been molested, whatever the case might be. I'm so passionate now about social work and filling in the gap. Sometimes a parent might have gone to jail. I now have to come in and play big brother or be the father figure. So that's what it's all about. I hope that the message wasn't too boring for you, and I hope I kept it fun and you learned a little bit about me, of how I was and how I am now. So just keep doing you. Just keep focused. Keep spreading whatever message. Don't ever let nobody tell you is preaching, and because I try to put it in a way that I'm not preaching. I realize that this is why people put up a brick wall. So I'm actually trying to start a program, or going to start a program, a workshop which touches on a different lot of topics, and we interview people, give them a survey of what their likes and dislikes and stuff like that, to get to know a little bit more about them, so that when the youths come in, we know how to talk to them and stuff. But we don't really push Christianity and Jesus down the throat, because we're trying to let them be able to heal emotionally, let them be able to heal so it doesn't affect them, or let you be able to heal. Sometimes you're watching this video and you haven't even healed as yet from the psychological trauma and the emotional pain that you've been through as a young child. You've just carried that along with you for so long. And somebody, you ever meet people who, if you tell them something, they're just angry for no reason, because they carry that psychological trauma with them, and at that particular time, it triggered a psychological trauma, and they just blew up and got angry. So there's a lot to learn, and I hope this teaches you at least a little bit, and I hope that you support helping your kids, and grow. If you're a youth watching this right now, I hope you understand and you could see that life is not the way to go, and you definitely want to go in the direction of going to school and picking up your education, because at the end of the day, that's what you need to thrive and succeed in life. So I'm going to say I'm out. Peace. 1000. Later.